All right. Welcome to New Frontier News. I'm your host, Angelo Rodriguez. I am here with Katie McCann, a professional organizer and the owner at Haven. Thank you, Katie, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Angelo. It's good to see you.
Likewise, always great to see you. And I'm glad you're able to make it. I know you're very busy. Could you just tell us briefly about yourself and what is Haven?
Yeah, absolutely. So, about 5 years ago, I was working in different medical education companies. I had moved my way up in these companies. And one day I was leading a call with a couple clients, some people on my team, and it kind of dawned on me. I literally had the thought, I'm not interested in any of this. And not only am I not interested in it, I kind of actively dislike it. And it was this real terrifying feeling because I was leading the meeting and realizing I don't like anything that I'm doing. And that kind of led me on the path to start working with a career coach, and I really wanted to identify something that would more so align with something that came naturally to me, something that I had a passion for, that kind of aligned with my values. And through a lot of work and connecting and networking, I came to, enter the industry of professional organizing. And over the years, have worked with a couple, great organizers that taught me a ton, and finally made the leap 3 years ago to start Haven. And it's been really awesome. It can be very challenging, but I love being a business owner and I love building my own thing. It's very, very rewarding.
Absolutely. And I know from knowing several of your clients, the type of work you tackle and just how, we were talking briefly before this, how, crazy it is when things pile up in your house
Uh huh.
or things just pile up in your life,
Hmm.
right? What do you think, like, what is the main mental thing that makes someone organized, or what are the challenges people are having being organized?
Well, being organized, I think some people, it just comes naturally to them. They're just, someone who likes not having a lot of stuff. They, kind of develop systems, but it's, you don't have to be born organized. You can definitely, it's just a skill like anything else. I myself was definitely not born organized. I was very messy when I was younger. And I found that as I got older, as I got my life got more complicated, I had more responsibilities, I just started to become so much more overwhelmed and distracted by all my stuff. So I slowly but surely really just taught myself systems, how to maintain my space. And I started to realize that I was always much happier when I was living with less and then when I had less to be responsible for. And I, to this day, strive to have a really simple life because that's just a part of my values and that's what I like. I like my life to just be simple and uncomplicated because life has a way of just creating complications that we don't really expect. So I like to keep my surroundings very calm and uncomplicated. And that's exactly what I do for my clients. If they feel like they've always struggled with organizing, then we just go through different daily routines, different ways of thinking, and different ways of living that can help them literally just have in their life what they really want to use, what they love, rather than being responsible for all this stuff that is just a just in case. What if I need this? I don't really care about it, but I'm holding on to it in case. And in my experience, just in case kind of equals never, because how we currently live our lives is pretty much how we're going to live our lives, pending certain changes. And we can just trust ourselves. We know what we need and we know what we don't need. And I think if we all just kind of tap into that, then we can live better with much less.
Absolutely. Yeah. We were talking about how quickly time flies,
Yep.
and you just don't realize how much you've been accumulating your whole life.
Hmm.
So, in what situations, when should someone call a professional organizer? Because I know, yeah, in most of our minds, we're like, oh, I got that. It's over here. Like, hey, that's good. I'll get to it. It's there.
Hmm.
Like, when should they call you, or when do you get the calls? Like, when? Please.
Yeah, absolutely. So I usually work with people who are going through some type of transition, whether that's a good transition or a bad transition. Like if someone is, living in a two-bedroom apartment in the city and they have two children and they say, surprise, we're having a third child. They need to make space for a fifth person where there was barely space for four people. So helping people in that way set up for another family member. Maybe someone is getting married and they're blending their families. So again, an entire family's worth of stuff along with another entire family's worth of stuff need to live in one place harmoniously. I can help in that way. You know, it could be an occasion that, someone is living and they're comfortable in their home, and then, a parent passes and they inherit all of their items, and suddenly their home is filled when before it was not. So really just anything that if someone was always disorganized and a transition has happened and it's kind of come to a head and they've said, I really can't live like this anymore. Or even someone who said, typically I've always been organized, but this big change in my life has caused me a lot of overwhelm and I need help. I need an outside set of hands, an outside perspective, and an accountability partner to kind of help me manage this change.
Got it. So how important is it to have a system? You talk about systems. Like how can you develop one? Are you giving me the system when I hire
hmm
you?
So as I kind of move through my day, I often think I kind of am in awe and even admire people who can kind of function when they're completely disorganized. Because for me, I rely so heavily on my organizing systems, whether that's for my personal stuff, for work, and if what it's almost like when one subway line goes down, that like the whole city shuts down. Like that's how it is for me. Like I need all of those things to keep everything running. So when people perform at a high level and they're not organized, I don't even understand how they do it. And I think what's ironic is if if they did get organized, they'd be able to perform at even a higher level. They wouldn't have to, white
Mm.
knuckle through their life and be disorganized and chaotic. They could just focus on what they needed to focus on. So I think just kind of, again, listening to yourself and developing systems that make sense for you, just like a small thing that I do is for me, I find that when I'm walking through the door at the end of the day, it always is quite a feeling of overwhelm. So before I enter the door, I literally take some time to take a couple deep breaths and kind of just, be able to like adjust my energy. So I'm not bringing in just like, you know, the commute madness or the stress of the day to my husband. And then I hang up my coat. I put my shoes in the same spot. I hang up my keys in the same spot. I put down my bag in the same spot. I unload my bag. I just do all these rituals to help ground myself. So I'm helping myself for the next day so that I'm not running around in chaos and trying to get out the door because I've created those systems. I know where it is because it's living in the home that I designated for it. So it's just those little routines that just make a huge impact and really positively affect you for the entire day, rather than starting off your day. Everyone knows that feeling of that you're late, can't find your keys, maybe you're yelling at your spouse, your kids are freaking out. And so, again, anytime we can minimize chaos and stress, I think that's a really good thing, always.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
hmm
I think that's probably why most people don't get organized. It's so stressful thinking about getting organized or
hmm
just, fixing that closet or getting to that, shelf or that drawer full of
hmm
stuff. Everyone has that drawer full of stuff, right? That in
Absolutely.
the kitchen or in the closet, like everyone has somewhere where they just jam everything.
hmm
They just don't know what to do with, and it just stays there for years. And yeah, absolutely, I think stress is a big thing, and that's often what I hear about you. You help alleviate people's stress. I get, when I hear testimonials from your clients, they talk about how, oh my God, it was like 1,000 pounds lifted off my chest when after Katie, helped me just organize that extra bedroom, whatever it is. And yeah, it's a lot in the mind. But and you mentioned it before, but I guess I want to know, why did you go into business, like, or for yourself especially, like you
hmm
you, you started Haven. um very difficult, you know, obviously to be an entrepreneur. Why did you choose that route?
I didn't realize it when I was working in like corporate America that it wasn't for me. I was always just kind of had like a I had, professional success. I made a lot of great connections with colleagues, and I learned so much from working in like a typical corporate environment. But slowly but surely I realized it just wasn't for me. I really value freedom and doing my own thing and making my own rules. And the fact that I can, have complete autonomy over everything with my business is just forever rewarding. And knowing that all of the hard work I put into my business is building something that I created and that I can continue to nurture just is endlessly fulfilling. And I find I kind of often think if I ever for whatever reason, went back into an office environment, I would be a complete weirdo. Now that I have a taste of this freedom, I would just be like, why can't I just do whatever I want here? It would be like, because that's not how it works. So I just really like that freedom. I like doing my own thing, and I like learning and, kind of pushing myself out of my comfort zone, because owning a business and being an entrepreneur, you constantly have to be way out of your comfort zone and yourself out there and be vulnerable. And that muscle builds over time, but at first it's like the most terrifying thing that you can imagine, as you know.
It's that leap. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the big leap.
It's the big leap. But yeah, that's why I salute you. I know how difficult it is, and just being an entrepreneur in itself, you have to have your own discipline, your own
Hmm.
systems, and still just to,
Drive and
yeah,
self-motivated.
just
Hmm.
to, okay, exactly, just accomplish things.
Hmm.
So, what challenges are you finding as a business owner? And I guess part B of that, you made me think of, are there any challenges you're seeing as a woman business owner?
um I mean, another aspect that makes me endlessly proud is being a female business owner. And I haven't ever, come across a situation that I thought, oh, if I was a guy and owning this business, it would be different. I think potentially that's because professional organizing is probably about 95% women. But I do actually also work in custom closet and garage design. And garage design is typically kind of more so like uh, male dominated. And in that way, I have never, again, I feel like I bring a very fresh perspective to it. And I feel like I probably bring in, typically I work with men who have reached out to me and wanted closet, garage design. And I think if I had to guess, a lot of people don't bring um, like the wife in a traditional couple into the decision making process. And I always do. I'm very mindful of that. So I think that does give me an edge in that way as well. But I've been fortunate that I have never felt like I came across, sexism in this industry or in the past. Um, as with anything, just I think the challenges of owning a business is just finding where to focus your time, because I'm not only the client, I'm the playa president. I do it all. I am the CEO, but I'm the, social media person, and I'm
Mm,
the accountant, and I'm the organizer, and which I love. I love juggling all those, but sometimes it gets to a point that you're like, I can't do all the things. And it's this like gray area until until you have enough flowing to you that you can hire someone to help you. You are a one person shop, which I enjoy, but at some point I'd love to, grow my team to
got it.
help with all the influx of stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Growing a team and scaling up always is a challenge, right? I think with any business.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, Katie, thank you so much. How can I guess how can we contact you? Where do I start? You know, what type of people should need organ? I guess anybody, right? I know you've helped people move too. That's a big
Hmm.
thing in your repertoire, right? When people just need to
Yes.
before they need to move anywhere,
Yeah.
they call you, right?
Exactly. So like I said before, any type of transition, I work with a lot of young moms. I work young families with children who are, expecting children, people who are getting married, definitely people who are moving. I can help, people declutter prior to move, actually manage their actual move, connect them with moving companies, unpack their home. So really anyone going through any type of transition who needs some help with organizing and project managing. And if anybody, wants to connect, they can certainly head to my website. It's haven-ny.com. And then my Instagram is Your Haven, New York. And you can kind of check out all of my before and afters and projects and see what I'm working on and get to know me a bit better in that way.
Absolutely. All right, will do. And we will check up and we will follow up because we have a lot more to talk about when it comes to these organizing things. These are, I think it's a constant thing in everyone's life. And the more we know about it, the more you can help, the better, the less stress we'll all be, which I think is the key.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on, Katie.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks.